How's it going, everybody? It's Carpo again. This, I guess, will be kind of an addendum or an addition to my last video, which will be a 15-minute rant about just life and stuff. I'm in one of those moods where I just feel like just talking about life. Nothing in specific, in particular. Except for towards the end of the video, I started to talk about the difference between belief and knowing. And, I think it's a really important topic to cover. It's one that I've kind of bit my tongue on because, there are many topics that, although I talk about some pretty, involved subjects, generally I bite my tongue about certain things just because I feel like, I have enough humility to know that I don't know shit. Now, there's two types of people two types of ways main ways that people view me when I say that. When I say I really don't know what the truth is. They will either see that as a strength and say you're humble because you know that you don't know, or they will see it as an extreme weakness by saying, haha, you have no idea what you believe, therefore you need X or X or X, whether it be Christianity or whatnot. And so I find myself, just kind of rolling my eyes a lot of the time. A lot of people will say that, you just have to have faith, you just have to believe. And along the same lines, the other end of it is that you have to know, but you have to believe in order to, or you have to know in order to believe, right? It's the old circular argument of saying that, you have to have faith in, let's say, you have to have faith in Jesus Christ in order to be saved. You say, but how do I know that He's real? And you say, well, you have to ask Him into your heart. And you say, well, it did, and it didn't work. And they'll say, well, you have to really believe, truly believe it. Say, how can I truly believe it if He hasn't come into my heart yet? And there the argument continues and continues. It's just like using the Bible to prove the Bible. The Bible must be true. Why? Because it says it's true in the Bible. Not to harp on Christianity, but that's one of the extreme beliefs. And having faith, even within that religion, they will even tell you in the religion and within the structure of the religion that your faith will be challenged, your faith will be confronted, and you will be questioned, and you will be put to the test. And so one starts to become suspicious instantly of, why would a belief system tell you outright that you're going to be challenged? Well, that's easy enough. You provide a solution by saying that faith is the only way to get through those times, and for a lot of people that's a good thing. But knowing, on the other hand, can be argued just as well as faith. A lot of people say, well, faith is for fools. I know that the grass is green, and I know this is true, and that's true. And so this would be on behalf of those who have faith, because I respect faith in that sense, that I understand there are certain things that cannot be expressed. It's hard for me to have a discussion with a Christian and say, I do believe in God, but I don't believe in your version of God, and still be accepted. In fact, until recent years, I wouldn't even admit that I believed in any type of a higher power, just because I didn't know how to label it without sounding religious, right? Alpha Chronics tastes great. Diesel flavor. So I'm just a guy who sits here, smokes his pipe, and ponders life, right? And I'm sitting here thinking about religion, thinking about politics, and I'm trying to be fair from all sides by saying, okay. And the C.S. Lewis thing I read earlier was fantastic, because I agreed with him all the way through and didn't even realize it was C.S. Lewis until the end. And I thought, this is fantastic. All Christians should read this so they have a better perspective on why the other side doesn't take them seriously, because they're using the most extreme versions or explanations out of their beliefs to try to prove their point, rather than saying, well, I just believe that there's a higher power. Usually the argument comes down to, you don't believe in God and I do, when in fact it's just a different version of God. In fact, Jesus gets left out of the religious arguments a lot by the end, by people saying, well, you're going against natural law, you're going against what God would want, but Jesus is left out because Jesus is the big argument. Maybe God exists, but was Jesus really His Son? And if not, is the Bible really legitimate? So this is where faith comes in for the Bible. But what kinds of things do we have to have faith in daily life? And how do we know we really know anything at all? Because it's easy to say, oh, I just don't know. But you have to have certain things that you believe in, certain things that you do believe. I've had the argument with people where they say, well, I don't believe anything people tell me. And I say, well, then you don't know anything. You don't know anything at all. If you don't believe that, a 2x4 goes through a sawmill, even though you haven't seen it be made, then, you're a fool. If you don't believe that your sheetrock is made of, gypsum, and even though you're told it is over and over, you're a fool. Maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong, but in general, we're wasting our time, is my point, by questioning things that are obvious, such as the sky is blue, grass is green, plants grow upward, yada yada. There are exceptions to the rule, but generally, if we adhere to the principles, we're okay. We don't have to waste time and energy. Put it this way, thinking takes energy. If you're constantly thinking and questioning things that you know are obviously not true or true, then you're, using energy fruitlessly. And that's kind of the way I look at it. So my point to that is that I set aside things I'm unsure about, so I can leave time for things, or should I say, I set aside things that I am sure about, so I can have more time for the things that I'm not sure about. Such as constantly pondering and questioning everything. But even within the last few years, I've given up on ever really hoping for a end result. I guess for me, it's learning the philosophies and understanding what the elders before me have pondered, and that Enduring Issues in Philosophy book is a great example of that. It's got moral issues in it. The question of morality, like, is morality something that's only religious based? In other words, if all religion was gone from the face of the earth, would we still have values and morals? Of course we would. Animals have morals and values, even though we don't call them such. They are respect factors that animals have for each other in order to live in harmony. And even the things that we do, which we may call altruism or helping others, are often done in order to feel better ourselves or to gain notoriety, although we don't realize it. And that gets into, a whole different aspect of it. But for belief and faith, and what is right and what is wrong, I think that moral values play a major part in that, because, we have to believe that having values is good for us, that having morals is good for us. But we can also see that through knowledge, that doing these things helps us. Such as harming other people harms us, because then we have no help when we need it, or, various things like that. So morals aren't exclusively a religious product. In fact, they're not a product of religion at all. Religion merely took the reflections of man's archetypal needs and values and reflected them onto his belief systems, if that makes sense. So, don't mind me, I'm just a rambling stoner. I still got some time to ramble, so I'll ramble for a little longer. I'm still limited to 15-minute videos because of my YouTube copyright strike 5 months ago for uploading a movie called Herodotus, Myths and Legends by the Teaching Company. The Great Courses series, formerly known as the Teaching Company. But, for sharing knowledge, I got a copyright strike, but I guess I shouldn't whine about that. It was somebody's work, so anyway, that'll be up in pretty soon, but it's probably a good thing that I don't have videos longer than 15 minutes, because that could get, I'll just sit and ramble forever if I do. But I can't wait to sit and ramble forever again. Well, I think I made my points, whatever they were. I know a lot of people take me as just a normal, humble, chill dude, and a lot of people take me as just an arrogant asshole. Honestly, I don't understand the people that think I'm arrogant. I think it's just a matter of how I portray my opinions on things, and I can be dismissive of other people, and I can be arrogant at times, and I can be a little bit, pokey and proddy with what people believe and don't believe. And in fact, I can be, no pun intended here, metaphorically the devil's advocate on a lot of subjects. Whereas, when everybody thinks that one thing's a conspiracy, I'm always the guy that steps up and says, hey, I don't think this is true. Just to try to get a different opinion out there and get feedback. Because a lot of people are afraid to speak out if they don't agree with the consensus. And, I'm not afraid to do that. If I really believe something strongly and it makes sense to me, then I have to express that, So my arrogance, what people mistake as my arrogance, is usually just my yearning for understanding, and to share that with other people. It's, I don't know. I've questioned myself over the past. What am I interested in? What really matters? I've seen myself go through so many different things, and mysticism and scientific inquiry and all these things, and I realized this is it. This is what it's all about. Because those who I have seen who have settled on a belief system, such as those who say, I've been where you're at, man. I know where you are. I know you're looking for answers, and Christianity is the way. And I say, no thank you. I've been told that many dozens and dozens of times, and it's not. Well, if you just get a copy of the Bible and read it, you'll see what I mean. Well, I have several copies of the Bible, as well as commentaries on the Bible and the book of Mark and commentaries on that. I read it, and I'm not interested in taking it, your interpretation, literally. Well, Jesus Christ is the only way. Thank you, but I'm not interested. Well, then you're going to hell. You're a piece of shit. Oh, you're a sinner. This is just the repeating pattern over and over. Everybody's courteous until you tell them you don't believe, and then they can cast you into the lake of fire. So, this is why I disapprove of religion and why I speak about things. It's not out of a hatred for beliefs, because religion is never the problem to me, and science is not the answer for me. And it's a combination of using common fucking sense, using your head, looking at the world around you, saying, what can I really attain from this? Not what did my mommy and daddy tell me? What did my teachers tell me? I've had people say, yeah, but I learned in class that this and this. What class? Welcome to Hard Knocks. This is the real fucking world. I'm sorry to be a little crude, but, this is the real, my true feelings. That people are a bunch of fucking weenies, and they need to get off of their little whiny chairs and get out of their dark closets, get away from their computers and their dank basements, and actually express and understand the world. I'm talking religious zealots and atheists alike. You stop fighting amongst each other. Stop trying to prove God exists or God doesn't exist. Just move along and live your life to the best of your ability. Fight injustice where you see it. Just be a good fucking human. It's pretty simple. It's a really easy thing. And I see people constantly sitting and dwelling on what other people believe. But not to the point of confronting it because it's wrong, but confronting it because it's not what they believe. See, when I confront religion, I confront it because I see the way that they make people feel guilty, telling them they're going to hell, telling children they're going to hell, causing wars and conflicts, and using religion as a way to tell people that being gay is wrong, that using stem cells is wrong, all of these corruptions. That's why I speak out against it. Why do they speak out against people like me? Merely because I don't believe what they believe. I am the harshest sinner, the most crude person. I'm just going to burn in hell for eternity for all my sins. Yet I love my family. I give in my life. I be as kind as I can to people. I treat people with respect. I live with value and integrity. And that's why it's never enough for people who believe in dogmatic nonsense. It's never enough unless you believe exactly what they believe. And that to me is a control trip, a power trip that each one of them has within them. A power trip within themselves. So those are my full opinions on, beliefs, I guess. That your beliefs don't constitute legitimate evidence. And no matter how much your heart may tell you that something is true, if there's no consensus on it, then you're just full of shit. And maybe you are right, but it doesn't mean that everyone else is a fool because they don't believe you. The consensus is what matters, because humans, as a group, have a consensus. consensus reality. Most people agree that the Earth is round, not flat, spherical, that is. And the same goes for everything else. So, use your head, people, right? Gotta go. Peace and love.